What if the dramatic weight loss you're seeing on your favorite celebrities isn't what it seems, and might even come with a hidden cost? Ozempic has taken Hollywood by storm, leaving many wondering, miracle drug or risky shortcut? In this video, you'll uncover 15 shocking celebrity transformations, what really changed, and the truth behind the headlines. Stay to the end for the most surprising reveal that could change your perspective completely. And tell me in the comments. Tell me how you feel about your favorite star and what kind of celebrity you think they are. Amy Schumer stands out a bit differently from others in this conversation, and in many ways, her story may be one of the most revealing. For years, she built her career by rejecting the polished, unrealistic image Hollywood often expects from women. Her comedy has always leaned into awkwardness, honesty, and imperfection. Instead of pretending to be flawless, she made authenticity the center of her voice, something many older viewers find refreshing and relatable. She even starred in I Feel Pretty, a film built around the idea that confidence shouldn't depend on meeting traditional beauty standards. Beyond that, Amy has spoken openly about refusing excessive photo editing in magazine shoots, wanting women to see what a real, unfiltered body looks like. So when she revealed that she had tried a weight loss medication, it immediately caught attention. In a candid post, she shared that the experience made her feel quite ill. According to Amy, the side effects were strong enough that she struggled to function normally or keep up with daily life, including caring for her young son. Not long after, that post was deleted, which only added to public curiosity. At the same time, there have been discussions suggesting she underwent a cosmetic procedure in the past, though details remain unconfirmed. This added complexity to how audiences perceived her. Rather than exposing hypocrisy, Amy's story highlights something more human: the challenge of questioning beauty standards while still living and working in an industry that constantly reinforces them. Kelly Clarkson is someone most people simply want to see happy. Since winning the first season of American Idol in 2002, she has built a career that feels refreshingly genuine for someone in the spotlight. Over time, she's become known not just for her powerful voice, but for her warmth, humor, and ability to laugh at herself, qualities that resonate deeply with older audiences who appreciate authenticity over image. When media attention turned to her weight, Kelly often responded with confidence and lighthearted honesty. She previously partnered with Weight Watchers, openly sharing parts of her health journey and reinforcing her relatable public image. Then, during the Kelly Clarkson Show, viewers began noticing a gradual transformation. At first, it was subtle. Over time, it became more apparent. Her style evolved, her figure changed, and curiosity quietly grew among her audience. For a long stretch, Kelly didn't directly address the shift. Eventually, she explained that she had been using a prescribed medication to support her health, noting it helped her body process sugar more effectively, something she had struggled with before. What captured attention wasn't just the weight loss, but how quietly it unfolded in front of millions, without much discussion as it happened. Fans have long seen Kelly as approachable and real. So when the change became undeniable, many felt puzzled rather than critical. It wasn't hostility. It was a quiet sense that something meaningful had occurred on screen without being fully explained. Meghan Trainor has a story that keeps resurfacing in this conversation, largely because the irony is hard to ignore. Her career took off with All About That Bass, a track that quickly became an anthem for body positivity. Its message was simple but powerful. Every inch of you is perfect just the way it is. For many young listeners at the time, especially those struggling with body image, her voice felt reassuring and sincere. The song seemed to be everywhere for years, on the radio, at school events, and across social media. But Meghan wasn't just singing about confidence. She actively embraced that message in her public life. In interviews, she often spoke about self-acceptance and even supported initiatives aimed at helping young people feel better about themselves. Then, years later, her appearance began to change noticeably. Fans started commenting online, wondering what had shifted. Eventually, Megan addressed it directly on her podcast. She explained that both she and her husband turned to a weight loss medication after dealing with health concerns, and she shared that she had lost around 60 pounds. She also pushed back against criticism, emphasizing that she feels healthier and stronger than before. Of course, Megan has every right to make personal decisions about her health. Still, for many who grew up seeing that song as a personal anthem, the contrast between her earlier message and her transformation feels complicated. It doesn't necessarily come across as contradiction. Rather, it highlights how personal health journeys can evolve in ways that aren't always simple or easy to define. Barbie Ferreira has one of the most intriguing stories on this list, largely because she has never fully explained it. For years, she became a recognizable face of plus-size representation for a younger generation. Through her role on Euphoria, she portrayed a teenager learning to reclaim confidence, beauty, and a sense of desirability in a world that often overlooks women who don't fit traditional standards. Off-screen, Barbie carried a similar message. She spoke openly about making space in fashion and entertainment for bodies that fall outside industry norms. Many young women saw her as someone who refused to shrink herself to meet Hollywood's expectations. That authenticity helped build a strong, loyal following. Then, something shifted. When Barbie appeared at a Victoria's Secret event, audiences were struck by how different she looked. Her frame appeared noticeably slimmer, and the change was significant enough to spark widespread online discussion. Naturally, people expected some kind of explanation, but none really came. When the topic surfaced, Barbie casually referred to that moment as a side quest, brushing past deeper conversation. For some observers, that silence became the most compelling part of her story. Victoria's Secret has long been associated with a very specific body ideal, one that Barbie's earlier career seemed to challenge directly. To step into that space, she appeared to move closer to the very standard she once resisted. Yet she has never publicly addressed that tension. In many ways, her silence speaks louder than any explanation might, leaving audiences to draw their own conclusions. Ashley Graham has a story that gives many people pause. For years, she wasn't just part of the body positivity conversation. She was one of its most recognizable faces. When she became the first plus-size model to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, it was widely celebrated as a meaningful step forward for representation in fashion. Ashley built her career by embracing bodies the industry had long overlooked. She spoke openly about loving her cellulite and rejecting unrealistic beauty standards. Her message was clear and powerful. Bodies like hers deserve to be seen, respected, and celebrated. For many women, especially those who grew up feeling excluded, Ashley represented a shift toward broader acceptance. Then, in recent appearances, including a Victoria's Secret runway event, her look appeared noticeably different. Observers pointed out a slimmer figure and more defined facial features, which quickly sparked conversation online. Ashley has shared that her changes are the result of more consistent routines, healthier habits, and nutritional choices, including smoothies. For some fans, that explanation has been difficult to fully reconcile with the scale of the transformation. At the same time, older clips from America's Next Top Model resurfaced, where she once emphasized strict definitions within plus-size modeling. Seeing those moments alongside her current appearance created a contrast that many found striking. Rather than a simple contradiction, her story reflects how personal health, public messaging, and industry pressures can intersect in complicated ways, especially over time. Chrissy Metz has a story that makes many people pause, though for a slightly different reason than others on this list. For years, she didn't just talk about body positivity, she lived it on screen. Her role as Kate in This Is Us followed a plus-size woman navigating love, family struggles, and self-worth. For many viewers, especially those who rarely saw themselves represented with emotional depth, that character truly mattered. Off-screen, Chrissy has been just as open. In her memoir, This Is Me, she shared her personal journey, speaking honestly about learning self-acceptance while still working toward better health. That balance between compassion and accountability resonated strongly with audiences who value sincerity over perfection. Then, in recent appearances, Chrissy looked noticeably different. Reports suggested significant weight loss, which quickly became a topic of conversation online. What set her apart was how she handled it. Rather than avoiding the discussion, she addressed it directly, explaining that she's on her own health journey and supports whatever helps people feel their best. She emphasized that caring for her body doesn't mean abandoning her belief in body positivity. Interestingly, the public response was warmer than in similar situations. Many fans appreciated her openness. She didn't pretend nothing had changed, nor did she offer vague answers. For a lot of viewers, especially older ones, that transparency made it easier to accept both ideas at once, celebrating her improved health while still respecting the message she has represented for years. Rebel Wilson adds another layer of complexity to this conversation, largely because her story reveals something uncomfortable about how Hollywood operates. For years, she rose to fame playing characters whose humor was closely tied to her body size. Her role as Fat Amy in Pitch Perfect helped make her a global star, with audiences embracing her bold personality and sharp comedic timing. But later, Rebel shared something many didn't expect. In her memoir, she explained that the industry had quietly encouraged her to maintain that image. Her brand, her casting opportunities, and even certain professional expectations were linked to the persona she portrayed on screen. In a way, Hollywood was benefiting from the very body type it often claims to challenge. Then came what Rebel called her year of health. Over time, she lost a significant amount of weight, and the transformation quickly made headlines. At first, she credited lifestyle changes, improving her diet, increasing physical activity, and focusing on overall well-being. Public reaction was largely supportive. Later, she became more open, acknowledging that she also used prescribed weight loss medication as part of her journey, describing it as a helpful tool for managing certain eating habits. Looking at the full picture, the situation feels more complicated. The same industry that once profited from her staying the same openly celebrated her transformation once she changed. That contrast reveals a deeper tension. Rebel didn't just lose weight. She, in many ways, stepped away from the version of herself that Hollywood had originally chosen to define and promote. Meghan Trainor has a story that keeps resurfacing in this conversation, largely because the irony is hard to ignore. Her career took off with All About That Bass, a track that quickly became an anthem for body positivity. Its message was simple but powerful. Every inch of you is perfect just the way it is. For many young listeners at the time, especially those struggling with body image, her voice felt reassuring and sincere. The song seemed to be everywhere for years, on the radio, at school events, and across social media. But Meghan wasn't just singing about confidence. She actively embraced that message in her public life. In interviews, she often spoke about self-acceptance and even supported initiatives aimed at helping young people feel better about themselves. Then, years later, her appearance began to change noticeably. Fans started commenting online, wondering what had shifted. Eventually, Meghan addressed it directly on her podcast. She explained that both she and her husband turned to a weight loss medication after dealing with health concerns, and she shared that she had lost around 60 pounds. She also pushed back against criticism, emphasizing that she feels healthier and stronger than before. Of course, Meghan has every right to make personal decisions about her health. Still, for many who grew up seeing that song as a personal anthem, the contrast between her earlier message and her transformation feels complicated. It doesn't necessarily come across as contradiction. Rather, it highlights how personal health journeys can evolve in ways that aren't always simple or easy to define. Looking across these stories, from Kelly Clarkson to Rebel Wilson, a clear lesson begins to emerge. Health, identity, and public image are rarely as simple as they appear from the outside. Each of these individuals made personal choices shaped by private struggles, professional pressures, and evolving priorities. What we often see is only the result, not the full journey behind it. For many older viewers, this serves as a reminder to approach such transformations with understanding rather than judgment. Bodies change, circumstances shift, and even the most confident voices can face complex decisions. The deeper message isn't about weight or appearance, it's about balance, honesty, and compassion. In the end, true well-being comes not from meeting expectations, but from making informed choices that support both physical health and personal peace. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.